What would you give to save the person you love most? Elena's mother was dying, and with no money left, she made a desperate choice. She offered her innocence to the doctor who could save her. That night changed everything. It gave her a son, a secret, and a broken heart. Years later, the doctor returns. And when tragedy strikes again, the truth will shatter them all. This is her desperate bargain with the doctor. Before we continue, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. The old ceiling fan spun lazily above the small one-room house, pushing around hot air that smelled of boiled rice and sweat. Elena Cruz knelt beside the bamboo bed where her mother lay, her skin pale, her breath shallow, and her body burning with fever. "Mom, don't move, please," Elena begged, pressing a damp cloth against her mother's forehead. "Your fever's getting worse. Just stay still. I'll get help." Her mother, Rosa, forced a weak smile despite the pain. "Child, don't trouble yourself. I've lived long enough. If this is my time, then—" "Stop it," Elena interrupted, her voice breaking. "Don't say that. You'll be fine, I promise. Just don't leave me, Mom. Please." Tears blurred her vision as she rushed out of the house barefoot. Their neighbors were sitting outside, fanning themselves in the humid air. Elena's desperate cries made them all stand up. "My mother is very sick," she sobbed. "Please help me. She can't breathe well." Within minutes, the neighbors carried Rosa to the street and flagged down a jeepney. Elena sat beside her, clutching her mother's frail hand all the way to the city hospital. When they arrived, Elena was stunned. The hospital was overflowing with people. Sick men and women lined the hallways. Children cried in their mothers' arms. Nurses ran back and forth, shouting instructions. Felt like chaos. Elena pressed through the crowd, whispering prayers under her breath. "Please God, don't take her. Not yet. I'll do anything." At the counter, she pleaded with the nurse. "My mother is very sick. Please, she needs a doctor right now." The nurse glanced at the chart. "Payment first." Elena's heart sank. What? Payment? But we don't have money. Please, she's dying." The nurse's expression hardened. "That's hospital policy. Even a down payment will do. If you don't have any money, I can't process her." Elena's tears fell harder. Their neighbors had already spent what little they had just to bring them here. Not even bus fare remained in her pocket. From the stretcher, Rosa whispered faintly, "Take me home, Elena. I don't want you to suffer for me." "No." Elena cried, gripping her mother's hand tightly. "Don't say that, Mom. I'll find a way. Just wait for me here. I'll get help." She turned to the neighbor who had accompanied them. "Please watch over her for me. Don't let anything happen." The woman nodded gently. "Go, Elena. Hurry." Elena ran down the crowded hallway, her chest tightening with panic. She pressed her hand against her mouth to keep from screaming. "What can I do? I have nothing. Nothing to offer." Plus, her stomach twisted. She thought of the unthinkable. I give myself. If that's the only way to save her, then I'll do it." "God forgive me," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I don't care what happens to me. Just save my mother." At that moment, a deep voice cut through her cries. "Miss, are you all right?" Elena froze. She turned and saw a tall man in a crisp white doctor's coat. He had sharp eyes, a clean jawline, and the calm authority of someone who was used to saving lives. For a second she could not speak. Then she stumbled forward, nearly falling to her knees. "Please," she begged. "My mother is dying. They won't treat her without payment. Have mercy on us." The doctor frowned. "You don't need to beg me. Go back to the nurse's station. Tell them to assign a doctor." "They won't," Elena whispered, shaking her head. "Not without money. And I don't have any." The doctor's jaw tightened. He studied her face, the desperation in her eyes, the tears that refused to stop. "What are you willing to give then?" he asked slowly, almost as if testing her. Elena hesitated. Shame flushed through her body. But her mother's pale, suffering face filled her mind. With trembling lips, she whispered, I'll give you my body." The words broke something inside her, but she forced herself to hold his gaze. For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. The doctor swallowed hard, his throat suddenly dry. His name was Dr. Adrian Vega, and though he was respected, something about this woman's desperation stirred a dangerous conflict inside him. Finally he spoke. Let's see your mother first. Then, we'll discuss your offer. Dr. Adrian Vega walked with long strides, and Elena followed closely, her hands trembling. He gave instructions to a nurse who protested. Doctor, this patient has not been cleared. She's under my care. I'll cover the cost, Adrian interrupted firmly. Elena's chest tightened with relief as her mother was wheeled into the treatment room. She pressed her hands together. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Adrian glanced at her. There was relief in her eyes but also fear. He cleared his throat. Don't thank me yet. Treatment comes with a price. Hours passed before Adrian stepped out of the room. Elena jumped up. How is she? Please tell me she's okay. She's stable now, he said calmly. We've stopped the infection. She'll need to rest, but she's out of danger. Elena covered her face, sobbing with relief. Thank you, thank you. Don't celebrate too soon, Adrian murmured. Rest now. Later I'll come for what you promised. His words pierced her chest like a blade. She should have been terrified. Instead, her heart raced in confusion. She felt both dread and a strange thrill. That night, after hours of waiting beside her mother's bed, Elena was startled when a nurse entered. Dr. Vega is asking for you, the nurse said curtly. Elena froze. Where do I find him? There's another nurse waiting to escort you. I'll stay here with your mother. Elena kissed her mother's forehead. I love you, Mom. I'll do everything for you. Her feet felt heavy as she followed the nurse. Instead of leading her deeper into the hospital, the nurse guided her out and across the street to a nearby condominium. This is as far as I take you, the nurse said softly, almost with pity. Think carefully, Elena. Some sacrifices can't be undone. Elena forced a faint smile. Don't worry. I can handle it. I'm already 23. The nurse's eyes widened. You look so young, like a teenager. Elena said nothing more. She knocked on the condo door 3 times. It opened to reveal Dr. Adrian Vega, shirtless, his hair damp from a shower. The sight made her breath catch. Elena, he said, his voice lower now. He poured himself a drink, then set the glass aside. Without warning, he stepped forward, cupping her face and kissed her. The taste of alcohol lingered on his lips. She froze, unsure what to do until she remembered her promise. She let him kiss her, awkwardly imitating his movements. Call me Adrian, he whispered between kisses. Her heart pounded as his hands slid over her shoulders, his touch igniting fear and something unfamiliar. She closed her eyes and surrendered, reminding herself over and over. This is for Mom. This is for Mom. Later, when silence filled the room, Adrian turned to her, his voice unsteady. Why didn't you tell me you were inexperienced? So you'd refuse me, she whispered bitterly. It doesn't matter. It's done. He cursed softly under his breath. I was supposed to feel pity for you, but instead... He stopped himself. Elena shook her head. Don't blame yourself. I don't regret it. You saved my mother. That's all that matters. Adrian pulled her into his arms. For a brief moment the world outside faded away. But in Elena's heart a question burned. What have I done? And what will become of me now? Elena's heart raced as the door of Dr. Adrian Vega's condo clicked shut behind her. The dim light from a single lamp filled the living room with a golden glow, casting long shadows on the walls. She stood frozen near the entrance, clutching her hands together, afraid to move. Adrian poured another drink, downed it in a single swallow and turned toward her. His dark eyes lingered on her face, then slid downward. Don't stand there like a frightened child, he said quietly. Come here. Her legs felt heavy, but she obeyed, each step echoing like a drumbeat in her chest. When she reached him, Adrian lifted his hand and gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face. You really don't know what you're getting into, do you? I know enough, Elena whispered. I made a promise. He studied her expression as though searching for regret. You could run right now. I wouldn't chase you. And let my mother die without treatment? Her voice cracked, tears burning her eyes. No. I'll keep my word. Something flickered across his face. Admiration, guilt, and desire all at once. Then slowly he pulled her into his arms. The night unfolded in a blur of tenderness and fire. Elena, nervous and trembling, followed his lead. She didn't know what she was doing, but she clung to him as if her survival depended on it. When it was over, she lay still, staring at the ceiling, her chest rising and falling as though she had run a long race. Adrian sat at the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. "You should have told me," he muttered, his voice rough. "Told you what?" she asked softly. "That you'd never been with anyone before." Her lips trembled. "Would it have changed anything?" "Yes," he said sharply, then lowered his tone. "I would have refused. I would never." "You would have refused and then my mother would have died," Elena cut in. She sat up, clutching the blanket around her. "Don't regret it now, doctor. It's done. You saved her. That's what matters." He looked at her then, eyes full of conflict. "Stop calling me doctor. My name is Adrian." "Adrian," she repeated, her voice barely a whisper. Silence filled the room. For a brief, fleeting moment, they sat together like two souls caught in a storm, both knowing something had changed forever. By dawn, Adrian was gone. Elena woke to an empty bed, the sheets cold beside her. On the nightstand she found a folded note written in neat handwriting. "Your mother will recover. Rest now. AV." Her chest tightened. No words of comfort. No promise of seeing her again. Just cold distance. She dressed quickly and returned to the hospital. When she saw her mother sleeping peacefully, color returning to her cheeks, relief washed over her. Elena pressed her mother's hand to her lips and whispered, "It was worth it. I'd do it again." But deep inside, a seed of pain had already been planted. Weeks later, Elena noticed something was wrong. Her body felt strange. Her appetite changed, her mornings filled with nausea. At first she tried to ignore it. Maybe it's just stress, she told herself. But when her period never came, dread filled her chest. One evening, when the neighbors were busy gossiping in the narrow street outside, Elena sat on her bed, staring at a small pregnancy test in her trembling hands. 2 red lines. Her vision blurred as tears spilled down her cheeks. She pressed her hand to her mouth to muffle her sobs. "I'm pregnant. With Adrian's child." The memory of that night flashed in her mind. His hands, his voice, the way he whispered her name. She shook her head violently. "Oh, I can't think about him. He's gone. He left without a word." Her mother, Rosa, entered the room just as Elena was wiping her tears. "Child, what's wrong?" Elena tried to hide the test, but Rosa caught her wrist. "Elena. What is that?" Elena broke down. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm pregnant." Rosa's eyes widened. "Pregnant? But you don't even have a boyfriend." How?" "I can't explain everything," Elena sobbed. "But it happened. And now there's a baby." Rosa sank onto the bed, stunned. "Oh, Elena. What have you done to yourself?" "I couldn't let you die," Elena whispered through her tears. "If I hadn't done it, you wouldn't be here with me now." For a long time Rosa said nothing. Then finally she took her daughter's hand. "You sacrificed yourself for me. But now, we must live with this." News spread quickly in their small community. Whispers followed Elena wherever she went. "She's ruined," women muttered as she passed. "Pregnant without a husband. Shameless. No man will want her now." Elena kept her head high, though her heart ached. She carried baskets to the market, washed clothes by the river, and endured their stares. One evening, Mateo Ramirez, her childhood admirer, came to visit. He had always liked her, always followed her like a shadow, though she had never accepted his proposals. "Elena," he said, standing at her door with a determined expression. "I know what people are saying about you. I don't care. Marry me. Let me claim the child as mine. No one will dare insult you again." Elena looked at him, her heart heavy. "Mateo, you don't understand. I can't accept." "Why not?" he demanded. "I've loved you for years. I'll love this child as my own." She shook her head. "Because it's not about shame. I'm not ashamed. This baby is a blessing. I don't need anyone to save me." Mateo's face darkened. "So you'd rather raise a fatherless child than accept me?" "Yes," Elena said firmly. His pride snapped. "You think you're so special, don't you? You're not even that beautiful. Some man already took you first. You should be grateful I even offered." The sting of his words lit a fire in her chest. She slapped him hard across the face. "Get out, Mateo," she hissed. "If I'm not good enough for you, then don't ever come back." As he stormed away, the neighbors peered from their windows, whispering louder. Elena faced them boldly. What are you looking at? Jealous because none of you were first either? You'll never have me. Not one of you. The gossipers gasped and scattered, muttering curses under their breath. Inside, Rosa sighed deeply. Child, your temper will be the death of you. Let them talk, Mom, Elena said, lifting her chin. Their words can't kill me. But I'll protect this baby no matter what it takes. Months passed and Elena's belly grew. She worked harder than ever, saving every coin she earned. When the day of her labor came, she returned to the same hospital, the place where everything had begun. As the nurses rushed her into the delivery room, Elena gripped her sheets tightly. In her pain, she cried out one name again and again. Adrian. Adrian. The doctors exchanged surprised looks. One of them whispered, She's calling for Dr. Vega. But he's gone abroad. Elena pushed through her tears, her body trembling with effort. Finally, the sound of a newborn's cry filled the air. A healthy baby boy, the nurse announced. Elena reached for him, her face wet with tears. She studied the tiny features, the nose, the lips, the dark eyes. He looked so much like Adrian that her heart ached. She kissed his forehead. You'll be Gabriel. My Gabriel. You don't need anyone else. You have me. And yet, in the quiet of her heart, she whispered, Adrian, wherever you are, this is your son too. 5 years had passed since the night Elena Cruz gave herself to Dr. Adrian Vega. 5 years since she held a folded note with his initials and wept in silence. Her life was not easy, but she endured. She finished her degree in business administration while raising her son, Gabriel. He was now 5 years old, bright-eyed, playful, and far too clever for his age. Mom, Gabriel said one morning while she fixed his uniform for kindergarten, why don't I have a dad like the other kids? Elena's hands froze on his collar. She forced a smile. You do, sweetheart. Your dad works abroad. He'll come back one day. Gabriel frowned. He missed all my birthdays. Maybe he doesn't love me. Her throat tightened. She hugged him tightly. No, baby. Your dad loves you more than anything. That's why he's working so hard. Gabriel pouted but said nothing more. When she dropped him off at school, Elena walked away quickly before her tears could fall. Later that morning, Elena sat in her small office inside Ramirez & Company, the company owned by Jude Ramirez, her longtime friend and now her boss. Jude was kind and supportive. He often told Elena he admired her strength, though she never let their relationship move beyond friendship. As she typed up reports, Jude poked his head into her office. Elena, can you cancel all my meetings before lunch? I've got an important visitor coming. No problem, sir, Elena replied with a smile. Sir. Jude chuckled. We're friends, remember? Just call me Jude. Professional in the office, friends outside, Elena teased. Jude laughed. That's why I like you here. You keep me disciplined. By noon, Elena carried her notebook to Jude's office to remind him about lunch. But when she opened the door, her steps faltered. Standing by the window, tall and confident in a tailored suit, was Adrian Vega. Her breath caught. He hadn't changed much, still impossibly handsome, though now sharper, older, with an aura of power that made him seem untouchable. Adrian turned. His eyes widened. Elena. Her heart pounded violently. Dr. Vega, she whispered. Jude looked between them. So you know each other already? Elena forced a quick smile. Yes. Years ago. At the hospital. He treated my mother. Adrian's jaw tightened. His eyes lingered on her longer than necessary. Jude, oblivious, laughed. That's good. What a small world. Elena excused herself quickly. I'll head back to my office. Enjoy your lunch. She nearly ran down the hallway, clutching her chest. Her hands trembled so much she dropped her notebook. She leaned against her door, whispering, Why now? Why here? Behind her, Adrian stood frozen in Jude's office, struggling to focus. He had returned from New York full of ambition. But now all he could think about was the woman who haunted his memories, the woman who once offered her body for her mother's life. And the sharp pang in his chest was jealousy. The following days were torture for both of them. Adrian visited Jude often, which meant crossing paths with Elena. Each time their eyes met, his full of longing, hers guarded with pain. One afternoon, Adrian finally cornered her in the corridor. "Elena, we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about," she replied coldly. "Yes, there is," he insisted. "Why are you here? Working so closely with Jude? Are you too?" Her eyes blazed. "Careful what you say, doctor." "I saw the way you speak to him," Adrian pressed. "So familiar. So close. Are you with him?" Her chest burned with anger. "You think you have the right to ask me that? After you disappeared without a word? After you left me with nothing but a note?" Adrian flinched. "I wanted to write you. I thought it would be easier if I stayed away. I didn't want to burden you." "Burden me?" she laughed bitterly. "I begged you to save my mother, and in return I gave you everything I had. You weren't a burden, Adrian. You were the man who ruined me." His face hardened. "Ruined you? Or did you use me to climb out of your desperation?" The words hit like knives. Elena slapped him hard across the face. "How dare you?" she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Yes, I was desperate. Yes, I offered myself. But don't you dare look at me like I'm some cheap woman who trapped you. I lowered myself that night to save my mother, but I will never lower myself for you again." Adrian's anger dissolved instantly, replaced by regret. "Elena, stay away from me," she snapped, turning and storming into her office. Adrian stood in the hallway, fists clenched, his chest heavy with guilt. "Idiot," he cursed himself. "You let jealousy blind you. You hurt her again." That night, Elena returned home exhausted. Gabriel ran to her, holding up a drawing. "Mom, look. I drew our family. You, me, and Dad." Her eyes blurred as she looked at the picture. A tall man, a woman, and a small boy holding hands. "Sweetheart," she whispered, hugging him tightly. Gabriel looked up at her, his innocent eyes shining. "When will Dad come back, Mom? Will he love me?" Elena kissed his forehead, fighting back sobs. "Yes, baby. He'll love you. More than anything." But in her heart she asked herself, will Adrian ever know the truth? The next day, Adrian arrived at the office early. He waited outside Elena's office with flowers in his hand. When she stepped inside, she froze. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "I came to apologize," he said quietly. He held out the bouquet. "I was wrong. I let jealousy cloud my words. Please forgive me." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You can't just appear with flowers and expect forgiveness." "I don't want just forgiveness," Adrian admitted, his voice trembling. "I want another chance. To know you. To make things right." She stared at him, torn between anger and longing. "You left once. How do I know you won't leave again?" His eyes softened. "Because this time, Elena, I can't walk away. Not from you." But just as a fragile spark began to return between them, shadows loomed on the horizon. Because Adrian wasn't the only one who had returned from New York. And the woman who followed him back, his manipulative ex-fiancée, Camila Torres, was about to rip Elena's fragile world apart. Elena had finally begun to breathe again. After Adrian's apology, their encounters softened. He no longer approached her with accusations but with gentle persistence. Flowers on her desk. A box of food waiting in her office. Notes written in his sharp but careful handwriting. "Don't skip breakfast. Don't overwork yourself. I haven't stopped thinking of you." Elena wanted to push him away, yet her heart betrayed her. Late at night, when Gabriel was asleep, she'd sit by the window and remember the warmth of Adrian's embrace 5 years ago. But she reminded herself, he doesn't know. He doesn't know about Gabriel. He doesn't know the price I paid. One afternoon, Adrian arrived unexpectedly at the company. Jude laughed when he saw him. "Back again? You're turning into my competition, Adrian. My employees might start liking you more than me." Adrian smirked. "I'm only here for one of them." His eyes slid toward Elena's office. Jude raised a brow. "You and Elena, huh?" Adrian said nothing, but the small smile tugging at his lips was answer enough. That evening, Adrian invited Elena to lunch. They sat in a quiet restaurant, far from the curious eyes of their colleagues. "Elena," Adrian began, his tone serious, "I know I've hurt you before. I can't erase that. But I want to start over. Forget the past. Begin again properly this time. Will you allow me?" Her fork trembled in her hand. "Start over." "Yes," he leaned closer. "Let me court you. Let me show you the man I should have been years ago." Elena hesitated. If he knew about Gabriel, would he still say this? Finally, she nodded faintly. We can try. Adrian's face lit with relief. That's all I ask. For the first time in years, Elena let herself smile. But their fragile peace shattered the very next week. Adrian brought Elena to his hospital, insisting she see his world. She was shy, nervous walking beside him, but a small thrill warmed her chest. Then out of nowhere, a woman in a red dress rushed up and wrapped her arms around Adrian. Adrian. Finally. She kissed him boldly on the lips. Elena froze, her world collapsing in a single heartbeat. The woman clung to him dramatically. I've missed you so much. You promised we'd fix things when you returned from New York. Now here I am. Adrian pulled back sharply. Camila, stop this. Camila turned, noticing Elena. And who is she? Why is she holding your hand? Elena's face went pale. She yanked her hand free. Fiancé? She repeated, her voice shaking. You're engaged. Camila smirked. Of course. I'm his fiancé. Who are you, his mistress? Don't you dare, Elena snapped, glaring at her. Elena, listen, Adrian pleaded. It's not true. Camila and I. But Elena was already backing away, her chest heaving with betrayal. You lied to me again. You wanted me to start over with you while hiding this? I should have known. She turned and ran. Adrian shouted her name, but she didn't stop. That night, back home, Gabriel sat beside her as she tried to compose herself. He watched her wipe her tears. Mom, he asked softly. Why are you crying? Elena forced a smile. It's nothing, baby. Just tired. He studied her carefully. It's about Dad, isn't it? Her breath caught. What do you mean? I heard you once, Gabriel whispered. When you thought I was asleep. You said his name. Adrian. Elena's hands shook. She pulled him into her arms, unable to speak. Mom, isn't he my dad? Gabriel asked innocently. Her tears spilled. She kissed his hair, whispering, Yes, baby. He's your dad. The next day, Elena tried to avoid Adrian at work. She kept her head down, busy with files. But fate had other plans. As she left the office in the evening, she found him waiting by his car. Elena, he said, stepping forward. Please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, she said coldly. Go back to your fiancé. Leave me alone. She's not my fiancé anymore, Adrian insisted. We ended years ago. She refuses to accept it. That's the truth. Even if that's true, Elena snapped, I can't do this anymore. Loving you is too exhausting. Her raised voice carried. From the doorway of their small house nearby, Gabriel had heard everything. Dad? He shouted suddenly, running out onto the street. Elena spun around in horror. Gabriel, no. But the boy was already sprinting toward Adrian, joy on his face. In that split second, the screech of tires filled the air. A speeding car hurtled down the street. Gabriel! Elena screamed. The impact was deafening. Gabriel's small body tumbled onto the asphalt, blood spreading beneath him. No. My baby. Elena ran, dropping to her knees, cradling him in her arms. Wake up, please. Don't close your eyes. Adrian's heart stopped. The boy, his son, though he hadn't known until that very moment, looked exactly like him. He knelt beside Elena, his hands trembling. Elena, let me take him. We have to get him to the hospital now. Together they carried Gabriel, screaming for help. Neighbors rushed out, panic filling the street. At the hospital, Elena clutched her son's limp hand as nurses scrambled. Please save him, she begged. He's all I have. I'm sorry, ma'am, a nurse said quickly. No surgeons are available right now. Dr. Parker isn't answering his phone. Elena's world spun. What do you mean no doctors? He's dying. Then came the voice. That deep, commanding voice she remembered from years ago. What's happening? Adrian demanded, striding into the emergency ward. Elena whipped around, her eyes blazing with terror. Save him. Please, Adrian. He's your son. For a moment, time froze. Adrian's chest tightened, his eyes fixed on the boy. His son. His blood. Elena, he whispered, his voice cracking. Tears poured down her face. If you don't save him, you'll lose your child. And I'll lose my whole world. That broke him. Get the oar ready. Adrian barked at the nurses. Prep him for surgery now. Inside the operating room, Adrian's hands shook as he scrubbed in. He had performed thousands of surgeries, but never had he felt fear like this. One mistake could cost his son's life. Steady, Adrian. For him. For Elena. He worked with precision, blocking out everything but Gabriel's fragile heartbeat. Every second felt like an eternity. Outside, Elena paced, clutching her mother Rosa's hand. Mom, what if he doesn't make it? Don't think that way, Rosa whispered, though her own voice trembled. He's strong. He'll survive. Hours dragged on. Finally the doors opened. Adrian stepped out, still in his surgical gown, sweat and exhaustion written all over his face. Elena rushed forward. How is he? Please. Adrian's eyes softened. He's safe. The surgery was successful. He'll need rest, but he's going to be fine. Elena collapsed against the wall, sobbing in relief. Thank you, thank you. Adrian turned quickly, his own tears threatening to fall. He couldn't let them see his weakness. Not yet. He walked into a private room, trembling, his heart torn open. Behind the locked door he sank to his knees. His voice cracked as he whispered to himself, my son. The hospital's fluorescent lights flickered above as Elena sat outside the operating room, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles turned white. Every second stretched into hours. Her body shook from exhaustion, but she refused to close her eyes. Her mother, Rosa, rubbed her back gently. Child, please sit. You've been pacing for hours. I can't, Mom, Elena whispered. If I stop moving, if I stop praying, something bad might happen. Her eyes never left the double doors of the oar. At last they swung open. Adrian stepped out, still wearing his surgical gown, his face pale with fatigue. Sweat clung to his forehead and his gloves were stained. Elena rushed forward, grabbing his arms. Adrian, tell me, please. How is he? Adrian swallowed hard, his voice trembling. He's safe now. The surgery was difficult, but he'll recover. He's alive, Elena. Her knees buckled with relief. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing. Thank you, Adrian. For a moment he let her cry against him, his own eyes glassy. Then, as if the weight of his emotions were too heavy, he pulled away quickly. I need a moment, he muttered, walking toward a private doctor's room. Elena frowned, then followed silently. Inside, Adrian gripped the edge of the sink, staring at his trembling hands. His reflection in the mirror looked haunted, like a man who had just fought death itself. Her breath caught. Adrian. I've performed hundreds of surgeries, he continued, his voice breaking. But this time I was terrified. One mistake, one wrong cut, and I would have lost him. I would have lost everything. Tears finally spilled down his face. He sank to his knees, covering his eyes with his hands. Elena knelt beside him, her heart shattering at the sight of him broken. I'm sorry, she whispered. I should have told you about Gabriel sooner. I wanted to, but I was waiting for the right time. Adrian dropped his hands, his eyes burning with a mixture of pain and love. There was no right time, Elena. Every day without him was a day stolen from me. But now, his voice cracked. Now I know. And I swear I will never leave him again. Elena's tears flowed freely. He's always wanted a father. He's drawn pictures of us. Me, him, and a man he imagined. He's waited for you without even knowing who you were. Adrian pressed his forehead against hers. Then I'll spend the rest of my life making up for the years I missed. He's my son, Elena. Our son. And I love him already. In that small room, for the first time, Adrian Vega allowed himself to break. And Elena allowed herself to hope. Later that night, Gabriel stirred in his hospital bed. His small eyes fluttered open. When he saw Adrian sitting beside him, holding his tiny hand, he whispered weakly. You stayed. Adrian's throat tightened. He leaned closer, brushing Gabriel's hair gently. Of course I stayed. I'll always stay. Gabriel's lips curved into a faint smile. Are you really my dad? Yes, Adrian said firmly, his voice filled with conviction. I'm your dad. And I promise I'll never leave you again. Tears glistened in the boy's eyes as he whispered, I'm so happy. Elena, standing quietly at the door, pressed her hand over her heart, her soul trembling at the sight of father and son finally together. Weeks passed and Gabriel's recovery went smoothly. He was soon able to walk again, though Adrian remained cautious, fussing over every detail. "Dad, I'm fine." Gabriel laughed one morning, wiggling his fingers as Adrian adjusted his foreline. "You're acting like Grandma." Adrian chuckled, ruffling his son's hair. "Get used to it. I'm going to worry about you for the rest of your life." Elena, watching from the corner, couldn't help but smile. For so many years she had carried the weight of being both mother and father. Now she saw her son's laughter grow brighter with Adrian beside him. But still, doubt lingered in her heart. One evening, as the sun set outside the hospital window, Adrian pulled Elena aside. He held her hands, his eyes burning with determination. "Elena," he began softly, "I want us to be a family. Not just co-parents. Not just two people bound by a child. I want to marry you." Her heart raced. "Adrian, are you asking because of Gabriel? Because you feel guilty?" He shook his head firmly. "No. I'm asking because I love you. I loved you the moment you knelt in that hallway years ago, begging me to save your mother. I was a fool to leave. A fool to doubt you. But not anymore. I want a life with you and our son. I want more children, laughter in our home, gray hairs growing old together. I want everything with you." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "But Adrian, I'm not the same girl I was. People look at me with shame. They whisper behind my back. Do you really want to tie yourself to me?" He cupped her face, his voice steady. "Let them whisper. Let the world talk. I don't care. All I care about is you and Gabriel. You gave me a son, Elena. You gave me a reason to fight harder every day. You're not ashamed to me. You're my salvation." Her sobs broke free as she collapsed against him, whispering, "Yes, Adrian. Yes." Their wedding took place a month later. It was small but filled with love. Rosa cried tears of joy, while Gabriel ran excitedly around the reception hall, telling everyone, "That's my mom and dad." During the vows, Adrian's voice trembled as he spoke. "Elena, the night you gave yourself to me, I thought it was desperation. But now I know, it was destiny. You gave me more than I ever deserved. I vow to spend the rest of my life honoring that gift. I vow to love you and our son with every breath I have." Elena, her veil damp with tears, whispered back, "Adrian, that night I thought I was only saving my mother. I didn't know I was saving my future too. You and Gabriel, you're my forever." Gabriel, sitting in the front row, clapped his little hands. "Hurry up, Mom and Dad. Say yes so we can go on our honeymoon. I want a brother." Laughter filled the room. Adrian lifted Elena into his arms, kissing her passionately as Gabriel squealed in delight. That night, as they walked hand in hand with their son between them, Elena looked at the man who once was just a stranger in a hospital hallway. From desperation had grown a love stronger than anything she had imagined. And as Adrian whispered, "I love you, Elena," under the stars, she finally believed in forever. And that was the story of her desperate bargain with the doctor. If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel a lot. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Elena's place? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more stories filled with love, sacrifice, and unexpected twists, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next one. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.